Well, good morning. Evaluate estimated costs. Uh, Basically, this morning we're actually going to be working on our next major component, which is plasterboard. And so up here is a folder, and inside of that folder is some resources which are really good. And so let's have a look at it. But the other thing that we need to do is think of um, these 7 points. Now, originally we would select material rates from Cordell. That has actually already been done, so we don't have to worry about that. So number one, um, calculate all the wall lengths and the wall height, which will give us the square meter rate. Separate wet area and standard rooms plasterboard, 10 mil for all walls. 6 mil villa board for wet area walls. Now, in the 547 gyprock manual, there's actually a whole heap of information regarding wet areas and how important that is. You owe it to yourself if you certainly download the document, but you can actually have a look at how that all works, and it's very important. Most damage to houses is around wet areas and leaking bathrooms, showers, and the like. Calculate all the ceiling areas, 13 mil plasterboard, and also finally calculate the 90 mil cove, cornice, or walls. Okay. Now there is an actual Your Home passive design installation. Now all of this stuff here, it's nice to know, but it's a key area for us. And knowing the fact that most people call um, internal linings gyprock, or gyprock is just um, a actual trade name. It's plasterboard is its correct name. So, um, all right, something that's really vital, and I've dug this out of when I was delivering this entire unit online during COVID, and so I had to actually put this in a Word document so that you could actually follow it. So, if you did a search for the Gyprock 547 Residential Guide, page 21. This is how plasterboard should be actually installed, and often it is not. And so last night in my class, I'd forgotten about this and had a few other things on my mind, and basically I drew it on the board. Now for you, and I know some of the students will actually come back to this and have a look, but here we can see on this side wall here, window, um, if we do have a join around the window, it can be a vertical joint. It cannot be right on the corner here or here. If we've got another window here, same thing. Now, this is a couple of different ways of plasterboard. So, um, ceiling joist, trusses, and the sheeting runs across the line of the trusses. So we already know, for example, with our layout that we worked on for the roof timber, that majority of it runs across the building, but there are some sections that change direction, and so therefore that changes direction in the way that the plasterboard is fixed. So um, this one here, don't worry about. Never have seen someone you put a control joint. Now on transportable homes, yes, okay, because they build a transportable home, stick it on the back of a semi, and off they go. Can you imagine the racking force on that? But there's some key areas. So avoid butt joints over single and cavity sliding doors. 200 mil minimum from joint to edge of opening if you had to join a sheet here. Stagger butt joints, okay, there should be at least one, or if not, two studs, okay, which means around about 1200. And now, if you have a look at waterproofing details, they are massive, and I'm not going to do that today. That's your job. you need to actually go in and have a look at waterproofing and see, wow, this is how we can do that. Now, a lot of people, when they think about using plasterboard, and I always throw this one up, this is basically a quick and dirty method, quick but not very accurate. So I got this figure from this is semester one, 2020, I think. Um, and you had a length of external wall 66.88 times it by 2.7, and we end up around about 180.57 square meters. Okay, length of the internal walls 43. 0.12 times it by 2.7, and you end up with around about 116.42, and a ceiling area of 160 square meters. Okay, great. My class is finished. Okay, boys, finish that off, put it in the sheet, I can go home. But the bottom line is the devil's in the detail. And a lot of the time, and if you go past a house under construction, I can guarantee you when plasterboard's going in there, there's Mount Everest either out the back door or the front door, where all the plasterboard that they've cut out for windows and everything else like that is actually thrown out. So if I go back up to my little drawing up here, um, if you were going to do a wall like um, this gets cut out last of all, but they are all full sheets. Okay, so wherever possible, full sheets. And so some of those things are quite vital for us to actually have a look at in regards to sheet size. Now, we could actually also say this is basically part of the older unit. And so now what I'm going to do is bring up the new template, and we're going to actually work along with that. Now, underneath here, because I can do it, sheet size, whoop, okay, you could do a search, Bunnings, okay, and we better give good old Bunnings a capital B, and we would have something like sheet lengths that are handy for us to use, 2.4, comma, okay, 3.0, comma, okay, 3.6, comma. All right, these are all sheet sizes, okay? Now we get 3.6, 4.2, comma, uh, someone last night, they actually got 4.5s. Now, I haven't seen 4.5s in many a year, but that's okay. 4.5, I was going to say either 4.8. So let's just go back a bit and put a comma here. So 4.8, and then we jump right up to um, the longest sheet. And hang on, we'll go backspace. All right, 6.0. Okay, now that is lengths. Okay, so lengths. All right, widths. Okay, there are two, 1200 and 1350. And they are our two sizes of sheets primarily that we can use. All right, so this little bit over here is very handy, and it gives you a selection, because what we have to do is apply this rule into, when we look at our plan, what sheets are we going to put where? And so we can't actually use exact measurements. And that was something that was used by a lot of students, not realizing, of course, you've got to actually calculate sheet size rather than the exact square meter. Coffee time. All right. I'm going to minimize that one. All right. just a few files here, which is nothing unusual for BAS, and going to bring that up to there. Okay, so this is your template. You have exactly this here. You may not have anything here. I'm actually looking at the first two. Now, the garage is comparatively simple, and the reason it is because it's just very much a straight run. Now, the other thing that all right, I'm happy to do that. I want to get rid of a snip image. And the other thing that I need to actually put up on the board is a lovely picture of our home. So we can get rid of Welcome to Acrobat. I haven't actually got editing on this, so that's not really a big problem. But if we were to actually look at this little section through here, now basically the actual framework for this up to about here. Okay, trusses run across here. All right, and then we have trusses running across here, and we have a girder truss that gets about here somewhere. So, and then we have trusses running along. So basically, our sheet in this area can run full length of the actual room. And so if we were to have a look at it, there it is there, 6 meters. That's the maximum length of our sheet. Now, we need to actually have 4 meters 520. You can't buy 520, so you have to actually build that up to the nearest sheet size, which is 4 meters and 4.8. Okay, so that'd be 1,200 sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you've got an off cut that is going to be off of that 4.8 meter sheet. Okay, so at this stage, all right, we're just looking at walls. Okay, so when we see here 6 meters is standard size. Now the problem we have here is that this floor level is actually considerably lower than this floor level. So in actual fact, here to here, and the height of the walls is 2 meters 830. And so where did we get 2 meters 830? Let's just bounce along a bit here. Okay, and we look at the detailed section, 2700 plus, we actually have a look at this step down, and we may actually get away with 2.7, but we'll allow 2830 just for the object of the exercise. We need to make sure that we have adequate sheet length. Okay, so let's bring up our layout. Okay, now we have two walls that are 6 meters long. So 2830 by 6 is, and this is just the square area, okay, the total square area times 2, and that is going to actually cover 33.96 square meters. Okay, now don't be too fast. If you work something out and it's slightly different, it's consistent to you how you work this out. Okay, and next line through here is across, and the sheet length is 4.8. You can't, you might get a 4.5, but generally we allow 4.8. So 2830 by 4.8, and that is going to cover the other end. Now, this fellow here, 13 by 4.8, that's an email, is actually something that we need to look at in regards to sheeting and how that actually works. But that's fine. You know, that's how that actually works. All right. So now when you're actually looking at this, so let's go back to um, our layout plan. Here it is here. So this is where the two 4.8s go across. Now you'll notice in plasterboard we don't cut out for doors and we don't cut out for windows. We just go straight across. Okay. Our job is to make sure that people have enough sheets. So that means that we're going to have 2 runs through here, which we've already done. one run through here. Now we've got a whopping great roller door here, 3.6 wide by 2.4, but we still need a sheet to go up and over the roller door. So one 1350 sheet by 4.8. And so that's going to actually go right across here to cover that area. Now, the offcut where we actually cut out the roller door or the panel lift door, actually, we're going to have to fill in this small section of wall here and this small section of wall there. And so we can use that. And that then actually completes the garage area of walls. Okay, that's as simple as what it is. Now, you may help yourself by having a PDF livened up, and every time you do a wall, you actually highlight it. That's an age-old practice. A red pen or a tick or something like that, so that you don't actually double up. And that's not a silly idea. That's actually quite a good idea. And so, for example, here we have our garage. So let's go back to our initial drawing, and there it is there. And so you've got 1350 by 4.8 is 6.48. We add the whole lot up together, and we've got 51.46. And so what we should do here is actually put in 51.46. Okay, now there will be a total. Um, Living room walls. Now we have a bit of a combination here, because if you actually noticed, when you get down here, we've got an entry, we've got a bathroom, and then we've got ceilings, but then we've got wet areas. So when we scroll all the way down here, you get the idea, all the wet area walls. And so, for example, down there, there's a little area of kitchen that is going to be using wet area board. So probably WR board. A lot of it is going to be behind the kitchen, but I can guarantee you kitchen bench tops are a nightmare for having leaks and the like. And so therefore, we're going to actually have to take that into consideration when we actually work out the area, okay, for the living room. So we'll go right back up to here. This took all of last night. Okay, so it was like we pretty much started at 6ish, and the last student got out the door at about 10 to 9 and still hadn't finished. And a lot of this is visualization. You're visualizing the way the sheets sit, whether they're on edge, on flat. Um, the question straight away, why can't we just do the sheets vertical? Now, if you actually have a look way back to our other document, and I'll go across over here. Why don't we have that? And that is because in residential, all the sheets are meant to run horizontal. Now, in commercial tenancies and demountable partitioning, more often than not, it is vertical. And part of the reason for that is quite simply they can't get the sheets into, for example, second story units and things like that. Okay. And so this is really important around domestic homes. Now, the other thing is refraction. Okay, meaning that the least amount of flush joints, the least amount of bumps and lumps actually in the wall. And most people, if you had that in a house, it annoys the heck out of you. All right, so the living room, I've actually got all of these figures in here, and all I'm going to do is try to actually do this in a way that makes it a little bit easier. And what I might do is just use the snip tool and go new snip, and I just want to actually go like that. Okay, and I'm just going to drag that out of the way for a minute, and then we're going to bring up the plan. Okay, so good old plan D. Where is it? Where's the plan when you want it? Okay, and then I'm going to actually put this over here. All right, so where did we get these sheet lengths from? So if we are going to have a WR board, the WR board is going to run from here, okay, to there, across here, and across here, okay. And by the time you do it, you might as well do the whole wall. Okay, it's not a big deal. You've got overhead cupboards, you've got splashbacks and all that, all the like. And so what we're going to do is say, rightio, 5 meters, 165 comes to about here, but we're actually going to work our way through um, for a sheet that's going to come up around about this doorway. So around about there where the window and the wall meet and the kitchen cabinet. So the dashed line is the extent of the kitchen cabinet. So we could see that it's probably close to 5.4. Okay, might pay to check that. Now, there's a couple of sizes here which are a bit weird and wonderful. Now, if we were to look at 4.8, and then we got this fellow over here, and we've got this fellow over here. If you were to scale this with your scale rule, you'll find that number one, this one, and I'll just do a little squiggle when we cover it from here to here is actually 4.5. So if I just grab a little highlighter and I'm going, all right, that's covered. Okay, that's a 4.5. It stops here. Now, the 6 meter actually runs right through up to here. Now, it doesn't show that on the plan. All it shows is a line. But that line indicates to me, especially in a cold hole like Wangaratta, that you're going to actually want to close off that area. So I've allowed for the sheet to go right to here. So that is where 6 meters comes from. Okay, now 2.7 by 6 meters. Where does this fellow come from? That's this detail through here. We've got 5, 1. We're going to go here and we're going to cover both of those. That's this whole area through to there. So let's just highlight that. And so at the moment, we've actually got this little fellow here covered. We've got this wall here covered. All right, now let's have a look at this end wall. Now, if we were to, I'll just shift this over a bit. You can see that we have about 3 meters 970 from inside of wall to inside of wall. Okay, so a 4.2 is actually pretty good. Now, it's debatable. Number one, I've only got one, what I should have is only one sheet, okay, because we've only got a little small section of wall here and a slightly larger section of wall there. And then over the top of the window has to be filled in. So what should actually happen here is we've got actually 2.7, but I would be more inclined to actually to make it 4.2 instead of 2.7, actually make this one 1.2 or even 1350. So either of those, there's a choice. If I grab a little writing, yeah, red pencil, right, and I'm just going to try and write, whoa, that's really good in that 1.2. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got 4.2 long and we're going to cross that out. Okay, so we're just going to have one at 4.2, okay, by 1.2. And then you've got that much offcut off of here. We can finish down the sides here and here. The window itself is, and we have a look down here, it is actually quite big and it's window 8. So we look at window 8, 3 meters 120. So if we've got 120, we could cut that out and use one piece here and one piece over here, and that would actually fix that. And it only comes up half the height, so it's not a big deal. All right, so we've got this one, we've got this one, and we've got this one over here. Now we actually have a couple of different walls that we need to actually think of. All right, so we've come right up to this point. Now we have another wall that actually runs right through, okay, up to here. All right, and so if we were to actually look at that and say, rightio, it's actually 3 meters 820, and we're going to add another 610 on top of that. So we can grab our calculator, which is on the other screen. So I'll just crack it over here, and we go first of all 3820, 3820, and we need to plus. Miss that. So let's do it again. 3820 plus 600. Okay. And we've got 4.420. So we're probably safer if we were to go through and actually think to ourselves, well, I've got a sheet in here to go, and it's got 1400 here. So if we were to add another 1400, 1.4, and what did we, oh, that didn't work. Gonna have to do that again. So if we were to actually work all the way through from here to here, okay, and then that way there we're covering this wall, okay, we've got to think around that. So let's start from this side here again. So we've got 3820, so 3.820 plus, and then we've got 1441. Let's go 1.5 plus. Okay, so we're up to 5.32. By the time we do that, we have to actually have a return around here as well. All right, so I'm inclined to think that we should actually maybe put a 6 meter in here as well. So we've covered these walls. So if we were to go 6 meters, that is easily going to cover that distance plus one of these walls, and then all we have to do is fill that corner over there, which is half a sheet, and which is probably what this one here is. So if we were to look at 2.7 by 48, let's change that. We're going to cross it out. Oh, that's if it decides. Oh, yes, here we go. And we're going to go. Takes a lot of concentration to write this down with a mouse. All right, 2.7 by 6. Now, how you do this is entirely up to you. All right, this is where you need to obviously have this plan. Now, remember back when we were doing some of the wall stuff, and we got you to actually use the measuring tool for the PDF. You could do that, and you could actually just click here and go up to here, and it'll give you a length. You don't have to put it on there so I can see it, but you can actually then choose the sizes that you're going to use. Now, we've got a 2.7 by 1.2, believe it or not, that's for this one here. Okay, around the doorway, across the head, and to fill in over there. All right, we've got another small section of wall through there, and that's where we've got to look at that. And there you go. That's the walls. Now, the way to do this so that you are as effective as possible is basically have two screens, and on one screen you have your takeoff, on the other screen, okay, you have your plan, or you may choose to use just a copy of the plans on a bench and just use a scale rule. The scale is 1 to 100, and it is accurate, and so you could go through and do like that. Now, in the old-fashioned days, and I do have a plan like this, where everyone actually went round and used a scale rule and just wrote very small over here what size they needed, what walls, and all that sort of stuff. But it was a slow process. But to be honest, that is one of the issues of this particular um, unit when you're actually doing a takeoff. And you get lots of questions in regards to, why do we do this and why do we do that? Why do we need a takeoff? because we need to actually have something repeatable that we can go up to. And one of the chaps in the class last night is really, really good on Excel and has everything in Excel, but he says I still need to write it down so that I've got something to reference. And so this is your reference point. Okay, so in a previous class, this is what we used, and over here, and then we end up with a sort of figure like that. All right, now bedroom 2, um, it's 3 major parts, and so we're talking about walls. Now, the actual internal dimensions of bedroom 2 are 3 meters and 20, which is quite interesting. And we've got a 4.2, and we've got also a 600, which goes over a nib. Now, let's have a look. So 0.6 by 2 is going to end up being 2.7 by 1.2 sheet. Okay, so I notice that someone's joined the class. That's the first time this year, so welcome, Chen. So how this actually exhibits as a delivery is actually working our way through this piece by piece, and either highlighting or whatever, but being very methodical. And by nature, that's not how I was when I was a younger man, a younger boy. Methodical didn't even enter my brain. And then along came the fact that I had to work jobs out, and being methodical is absolutely crucial. All right, so let's have a look at our plan up here, and we can actually see bedroom 2. Now, the key dimensions, 3 meters and 20. Now, how long is a plasterboard sheet? Okay, so if I was to go through and just open this fellow up and go down to here, 2.4, 3 meter, 3.6, 4.2, 4.5, 4.8, and 6 meters. The other part is widths 1200 and 1350. Okay, so we've got to remember to actually use those tools. So, okay, so here we are, and you can see 3 meters and 20 actually working away. Now we've got 2 walls. The plasterboard is 10 mil thick, which means 3 meters would fit perfectly. So this wall, okay, you've got 2 at 3 meters. This wall, you've got 2 at 3 meters. Now, just because it steps back, it means that this one and this one, they step back into the room, and that's going to make life a little bit easier for us. Now, this length changes. So 3.6 by 600 is 4.2. Okay, so this wall, okay, we're going to have 2 at 4.2. Now, this wall, okay, is considerably less. It's only 3.6 up to here. All right, and so we got 2 at 3.6, 2 at 4.2, and 4 at 3 meters. And that's the walls are done and dusted for that particular area. So let's actually bring up our sheet, and there you can see it. You've got 2 at 4.2. Okay, you've got 3 meters by 2. Okay, so there it is there. Now we've got a half sheet, okay, over the top of a door because you've got a pretty big window. And the other fact that we should actually do is actually just make that across the window. So we've got both ends, got one side. We should have a 3.6. So this should be 3. Okay, so 2.7 by 3.6. It's not 2. Okay, so we get rid of that and just delete it. All right. So once you've actually got those figures, you can then calculate it, put it into here, and come up with a cumulative total, okay, for the actual bedroom 2. Okay, entry. Now, these are to help you in the sense that I've left these sizes here. You can work these out and go, oh yeah, why did I need 3 at 500 wide? why do I need a 4/8? Why do I need 1/8? And all of those. And so if you've got your layout plan and you won't be able to do it without it, here's our entry. Now we've got one wall that's going to go from here right through to there. Okay, so this is actually where that 4/8 comes from, and so that's another little job. Now, what I'm going to do is go back to the layout plan. Okay, I'm going to do a new snip image. Best thing since sliced bread, these things are snip images because you can just go rightio. Okay, I want to actually worry about that. Now I can put him over there, open up our plan, drag it up over here. Okay, now it's hard to believe in here how many sheets we've actually got. So first of all, again, the same thing, we've got the highlight pen, and right from here to here, all right, is going to be 4.8. All right, you've got 3.6 plus you've got a 600. All right, and just to make sure, okay, we've got to go right through in one sheet. Okay, and then we're going to cut a doorway out of that. So that covers that area. Okay, so that's our very first sheet. All right, now the other part over here, and I'm going to have to drag that down a bit so we can get some measurements. Okay, how long is that distance between here and here? 2284. Okay, so we need two sheets at 2.4. There it is there. Okay, so, and we try to make this so that it's easy as possible to follow. Now, the problem we have here, as usual, I've got to go over here now. It's chasing me. We actually have an opening going right through from there to there. It's actually 1.20 m, but we've actually got 1520 from wall to wall. Okay, so we've got to use a 2.4. So 2.7 by 2.4 straight across here. One will go over the top of the doorway, and the others will be down the side of the small plasterboard wall. So let's just chop that out. So there it is there. Okay, now having a look at the size of our coat area, 500 wide. So that means we have 1, 2, and 3 500 widths that go there. So that is what that's about. Okay, so that's the coat area. Now we've got finally two other sheets that we need to think of. Number one, we've got 1355, and so we're going to actually use a 1.8, and we're going to go 2.7 by 1.8. That's going to go through here. And the other part that we're going to do, okay, we've got to actually put something over the top of the actual coat cupboard. It's not going to go right up to the ceiling, 2.7 high. More often than not, it's only perhaps 2.1 or 2.4 max. So if I was to draw a little elevation here of the top of the opening, okay, and the ceiling is going through here. Whoop, the ceiling's got a bad sag in it. Sorry, guys. There it is there. And we need to actually put plasterboard here and plasterboard here. And I'll just draw, okay, bit of stud work here. So this is just our, okay, cross here like that. All right. And so we've got to actually clad this side and that side as well. And so that is over this. Doesn't show you. All right. This is where the visualization stuff comes in. And you need to practice that so that when you look at a plan, you can go, oh, yeah, I see how that goes together. And if you're not sure, you have a look at any detail, it should actually show you that sort of capacity. And so that's what covers these. Okay, so it's going to cover here, There's going to actually, you can see there's a little return here, there's a little return there. That means that we've got to have plasterboard going down there. All walls have to be lined. Even though you may be putting a cupboard in it, that doesn't actually work like that. Okay, so there we are. That's the entry. And so as we go through each of these sections, I'm just going to shut that down. Don't need that. Do I want to change it? No. I think it's on the video so you guys can actually see it fairly easily. And now we go back to our takeoff. And so that's the entry. All right. Bedroom one. All right. The sizes are there. Don't just add these up, mate. Have a look at the bedroom and work out where they are. All right. Ultimately, all right, this is the way that you're going to actually learn where we put sheets and stuff like that. And if you've got a scale rule, you can actually measure it and work out where that's going to go. And you're going to be tickety boo. It's never simple. All right. All of this stuff is a process, and it's a process that actually takes quite a bit of time. It's not something that you can actually go through and go, oh yeah, well that we're just going to do that and we'll be fine. All right. Um, so do the same for the entry. We've finished that one. You can put through here. You may want to change sizes. That's fine. Bedroom one, walk-in robe. Okay. Now ultimately you're just going to put a total and then it's twice. Why? I don't know. It's just the way it's set up. All right. Our next job is the plasterboard to the ceilings. Now, we already know, going by the concrete slab, and off the top of my head, it's 132.6 square meters for the ceiling. Okay. The problem with this is, for example, all right, we've got 6 meter by 4.8, which means 4 6 meter sheets, the entire area through here. So we could actually just go like that, and I hit that with black. Okay. So it's going to be 28.8 square meters. And then under here is your subtotal. And um, that's where that comes from. All right, so let's have a look at our next part. So you can see this is really easy. Room sizes, laundry. The laundry catches a lot of people out. You've got 3.6 by 2.4, okay? But we've also got a little 600 section that's over the top of the cupboard. So when I actually go here, thinking about this detail through here, okay, you've got 15, you've got 600 through here. You just need to allow enough for here and enough for here. So you can actually work out the size for each of these. Now, don't get tricked by these dimensions, 2.4 by 2.7. And I mentioned this when we were doing carpentry, but I'll mention it again. Let's go up and have a look at the size of the room. And would you believe it's not 2.4 in length or 2.7? It's 2.4 in width across here. No trouble whatsoever. That 2.7 is wrong. Okay. How do I know that? Because way up here, it's 3 meters 130. So that means when you're working out this room, you're going to have to use 2.4 in width by 3.6. All right, do you see how that goes? Now, all the trusses run this way, so that means that your sheets are going to run that way. So when you work out this area, all right, and they're pretty close. He's got sort of like 7 meters, 7.7 by 4 meters across here. And so you're going to have to work out going full length all the way through here and right through to there. And actually working out all the sheet sizes as you go. And once you get the hang of it, it's relatively quick. All right, so garage, laundry, bathroom. Okay, so I've already put 3.6, not 2.7. Living area. Okay, and all you need to do is to check these to make sure I've got them right. And then ultimately, what I want is right at the very end, a total plasterboard to all the ceilings. All right, then we branch into wet areas. And so wet areas, there's a couple of sheet sizes through here. I've left them all the way through um, because the amount of time to actually do this is quite substantial, and I'm very aware of that. And so if you could actually work out all those square areas. Now, cornice, again, use your sheet sizes. And the other thing that you also need to do is if there's external corners, you need to add 300 mil to the length. So thinking of a cove cornice that actually goes on the wall. So if I was to actually uh, bring up a snip image over here, and I'm just going to actually take, say, there, okay, just so you can see it. Think of this being a wall, okay, along that way and along that way. So when if you were measuring exactly the 6 meters and there was an external corner, you have to understand that your cove is actually going to be out here like that, and actually run here and also run here. Have a look at home. Every external corner, the cornice runs past by the width of the cornice. In this case, 90 mil. Okay. Now, just to make sure we got enough, we just add zero 0.3. Okay. So wherever you've got external corners, internal, no biggie. So let's just say if this was an internal, and our cornice would actually go like, oops, it would go a lot straighter than that, by the way. Okay, and this is 45 degrees. So that's no trouble. You know, if the room is exactly 6 meters, but it's the same principle as timber. Often you need a little bit longer than what you require in case the end of the actual cove gets damaged. If it's damaged and you've only got exact length, then you've got to actually repair that by actually filling it and sanding it. And that is a real laborious pain in the backside job. Okay, now look at the laundry. Can we buy a 3,499? No. Can you buy a 2,389? No. Okay, so you need to put sheet size 1.8 instead of 1510, 600 instead of 510. These are all exact sizes. Okay, so the engineers in the world, they will get everything to the exact size. And the illustration I used last night with the class, and I'll use with you now, is that whenever we do a estimate of a home, and let's just say it's a concept uh, estimate, and I use the example of Revit, which actually automatically formulates the entire material list for a whole job to the exact millimeter. So then they chuck all the figures together, and the polys of the day, they want to make sure it's as cheap as possible so they can get their project through. But the reality is, then along comes the builder, and he does what's called a builder's bill. And a builder's bill does things such as, oh, well, you need to allow more cornice because it's going past the corner. You need to allow more plasterboard because we can't get a 3,499. We can only get a 3.6. And suddenly, in the case of the Adelaide Hospital, it was in the millions of additional money because of how much it was going to cost. So you look at bare walls and they're relatively cheap, but then you look at your overall sizes and allowing for tolerances and all those sorts of things. That is a key thing to consider. All right, we're running out of time. I'm going to get rid of that. We're going to scroll down here. So do all the corners. Okay, and you can see all these, but remember, Note, use sheet sizes, very important, okay? So it's a VIP thing. You know, you can't buy 4380, so I can't emphasize that enough. Ultimately, come up to here. All right, now the other area we've got is ceiling insulation. And so there are a whole heap of sizes onto here, and you can actually have a look at that. I may actually just go like that and actually go black. And have we got anything? No, we got nothing. All right. So you need to actually work out your square areas and put that all there and just see what you've got. Now over here, these are wall areas. Again, the same problem, okay, is these are exact wall sizes, okay? Add those all up. You also need to subtract the garage door, okay, through here. And so we've got garage door, external windows and doors, internal doors, and 720 cavity slider doors. And then you're going to end up with a figure that goes right through to here, which actually covers all the plasterboard. Okay, so next week we will be actually jumping into fixing carpentry. And in actual fact, today I'm going to be doing another video on that, and also the other subsequent areas. I want to get 2 or 3 videos done today because I'm up to date with marking, and we go from there. All right, thank you for watching. Um, Bear in mind, we do not have a whole heap of time left, so you need to get your skates on if you're behind. At the end of the day, the final assessment is you need to make sure that you've done the home price comparison, and a lot of you haven't still. We've got actually a takeoff that you need to upload completed, and also you need to put in the your spreadsheet the figures. Now I'm going to just quickly show the spreadsheet, and today's filling in, okay, supply and fit plasterboard, right? We've only got 4 squares, but to find out all those meter rates takes it forever. Okay, and some of these items are not just like, and it's like rendering last week, 2 spots, okay? Render by color code, render by paint finish. So there's 2 different rates. You can see the differences there. Now, it means we're going to have more under render than what we would, because the choice will be either this one or that one, but it's a way of you guys actually learning the different areas. Now, as we go down here, remember, we've got waterproofing, we've got tiling, we've got second fixing, joinery you don't have to worry about, painting. Now, once you've done a great job of all your plasterboard, that will give you the square area for all of these. And that's next week. We're going to be actually touching that. And then we've just got a garage door. That's really tough. Um, Glazing, there's an internal site clean, paving, okay, a bit of a clothesline and stuff like that. And at the moment, okay, um, this will add up automatically, and it's in stage of what I've filled out on this sheet is actually 115 grand. It'll be closer to $500,000. Okay, so work your way through. Any of these blue squares are what you fill out, and so if you've got time, okay, you need to actually spend it by actually filling in those areas. Next week, we're going to be looking at paving, and also because carpentry is not going to take a whole heap of time. And then this painting, a lot of our stuff will actually come from work that we've already done. Okay, and that's what makes it really good when you're doing estimating and you've got good records. You can go back to your main sheet and anywhere and pick up and go, oh yeah, that wall was so and just drag it down and put it into the relevant area of the spreadsheet you need. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and look forward to the next video.